Look around. The world doesn't reward good people. It rewards people who know when to stop being good. The most honest person in the room is usually the most replaceable. The most loyal is the first to be sacrificed, and the quiet one who minds their business is stepped over without a second thought. You are told that if you work hard, stay kind, and do the right thing, things will work out. That lie has cost people their time, their confidence, and their future. Life doesn't run on fairness. It runs on leverage. And most people never realize when they lost it. Every day, someone less talented than you is winning. Not because they're better, but because they understand power. They speak at the right time. They stay silent when you over-explain. They move while you hesitate. You call it luck. They call it strategy. And while you're trying to be liked, respected, or understood, others are positioning, manipulating, and collecting advantages in silence. This is not a moral world. It's a competitive one. Life is a quiet war, fought in offices, friendships, families, and social circles. There are no uniforms, no announcements, only winners and those who don't realize they're losing. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If you don't understand the game being played around you, you are not above it. And once you see where the pressure points really are, you can never unsee them. You are the piece being moved. The most dangerous enemies in your life don't announce themselves. They don't raise their voice. They don't threaten you. They don't look like villains. They smile. The coworker who claps when you succeed, but quietly takes credit when you're not in the room. The friend who says, "I'm proud of you," but feels smaller every time you grow. The relative who supports you publicly and undermines you privately. Subtle comments, planted doubt, quiet sabotage. These aren't accidents. They're rehearsed behaviors you've already seen and ignored. Real threats don't come charging at you. They sit beside you. They listen. They gather information. And every detail you volunteered made their job easier. They learn your fears, your insecurities, your habits, and then they use them. You were taught to look for danger in loud people, aggressive people, obvious enemies. But power doesn't move loudly. It moves cleanly. The people who harm you most often believe they deserve what you have. They don't see themselves as traitors. They see themselves as evening the score. That's why betrayal almost always comes from familiarity, from comfort, from proximity. And here's the part most people refuse to accept. Awareness is not paranoia. It's survival. You don't become dangerous by assuming everyone is evil. You become dangerous by understanding that not everyone is honest. Naivety doesn't make you pure. It makes you predictable. The world doesn't punish cruelty first. It punishes blindness. And once you start seeing the smiles for what they are, masks, not guarantees, you stop being easy to play. Because the moment you realize threats rarely look threatening, you stop volunteering for traps disguised as trust. 500 years ago, before psychology tried to make power polite, one man wrote what rulers were never supposed to say out loud. Niccolò Machiavelli. He wasn't a philosopher. He wasn't a motivational speaker. He was studied quietly and quoted even more quietly. He was a political survivor. He studied rulers the way a surgeon studies anatomy, not to judge, but to understand what actually keeps someone alive. He watched kings lose everything not because they were evil, but because they were good at the wrong time. He saw loyalty collapse. He saw kindness mistaken for weakness. He saw honesty exploited until it became a liability. And instead of comforting people, he documented the mechanics. Machiavelli didn't ask how humans should behave. He asked how they do behave when power, fear, and survival are involved. That's why his work was feared, banned, whispered about. Because it didn't flatter human nature, it exposed it. If Machiavelli lived today, he wouldn't be confused by office politics, fake friendships, or social games. He'd recognize them instantly. Same instincts, same manipulations, different costumes. He understood something that still makes people uncomfortable. The world does not reward virtue. It rewards awareness. Power isn't given to the most moral. It's taken by the most prepared. And once you understand that, you stop being shocked by betrayal. You stop being offended by manipulation. And you stop losing to people who understand the game better than you do. This wasn't philosophy. It was a warning. And what you're about to learn isn't meant to make you feel good. It's meant to make you dangerous in ways no one can accuse you of. I'm not here to motivate you. I'm not here to comfort you. And I'm definitely not here to tell you to just be yourself. What you're about to learn are precise principles, rules that shift how people perceive you, how they approach you, and how they decide what they can get away with around you. Not theory, not philosophy, mechanics. When you understand these rules, something changes. People hesitate before testing you. Conversations tilt in your favor without you raising your voice. You stop being underestimated, interrupted, or casually dismissed. You gain psychological leverage, not by being louder, not by being aggressive, but by becoming harder to read and harder to move. There are 8 principles in total. Miss even one, and the rest weaken. Each one sharpens a different part of your internal armor. Together they change how the world responds to you. But this only works if you approach it correctly. So before we begin, lock this into your mind, hit subscribe, and write it in the comments. I don't chase power, I become it. That sentence isn't for engagement. It's a psychological commitment. It's a line in the sand. Because once you see how the game actually works, you don't get to unsee it. And from this point forward, every move you make becomes deliberate. Rule 1. Never reveal your full self. Here is the first truth most people learn too late. The more people know about you, the less power you have over them. Humans don't exploit you because they're evil. They exploit you because information invites leverage. When you overshare your fears, people learn where to press. When you overshare your plans, people learn where to block. When you overshare your struggles, people quietly downgrade you in their mind. Openness feels virtuous, but psychologically, it makes you predictable. At work, the colleague who knows your insecurities knows how to manipulate you. In friendships, the person who knows your weak spots jokes about them accidentally. In relationships, excessive emotional transparency shifts power away from you. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He warned that men are not destroyed by enemies. They are destroyed by those who know them too well. Power does not live in secrecy for secrecy's sake. It lives in selective revelation. Reveal slowly, reveal strategically, reveal only what strengthens your position. Be approachable, be composed, but never be completely readable. Rule 2. Control your emotions, or be controlled. This is where most people fail, because discipline is harder than intelligence. The fastest way to lose power is to react. Anger exposes you. Defensiveness shrinks you. Explaining yourself hands others the steering wheel. Emotion is not weakness by itself. Uncontrolled emotion is. The moment someone can trigger you, they own you. In arguments, the calm person always wins. In negotiations, the one who pauses controls the tempo. In conflict, the person who doesn't flinch decides the outcome. This is why people provoke you. Not to defeat you, but to measure you. If you react emotionally, they learn your limits. If you stay neutral, they become uncertain. Machiavelli observed that the wise man acts when the fool reacts, not because the wise man feels nothing, but because he refuses to give his inner world away for free. Silence unsettles emotional people. Calm destabilizes aggressive people. Restraint intimidates the undisciplined. Feel everything. Reveal nothing. Let others lose control while you remain still. Rule 3. Make yourself necessary, not liked. Most people chase approval. Powerful people build dependence. Being liked feels safe. Being needed is untouchable. People abandon what they enjoy. They protect what they rely on. At work, the indispensable person is never replaced easily. In social circles, the one with unique value is never ignored. In relationships, the person who adds stability holds leverage. This is not manipulation. It is understanding human nature. Gratitude fades. Dependency persists. Machiavelli noted that loyalty built on emotion collapses under pressure. But loyalty built on necessity survives betrayal, jealousy, and temptation. Do not advertise your usefulness loudly. Demonstrate it quietly. Become the solution people hesitate to lose. Become the gap they cannot easily fill. Stop trying to be appreciated. Start becoming irreplaceable. And once people rely on you, they stop questioning you. Rule 4. Wear the mask, or be worn by others. Authenticity is romanticized by people who've never been targeted. The truth is brutal. What people see is what they react to. What you are inside is irrelevant. The world does not reward honesty. It rewards perception. If you show ambition too early, you attract resistance. If you show strength too openly, you invite challenge. If you show vulnerability without leverage, you invite domination. So the powerful learn to mask, not to deceive blindly, but to delay revelation until the moment it cannot be punished. At work, you appear agreeable while mapping the room. In social spaces, you appear relaxed while collecting data. In hostile environments, you appear harmless while positioning yourself. Machiavelli understood that men attack what they can see. What remains concealed survives. This is not hypocrisy. It is timing. The lion does not announce the hunt. The blade does not warn before it cuts. Show them what disarms them. Hide what would make them afraid until it's too late. Rule 5. Strike first, or control the timing. Power punishes hesitation, and hesitation is always visible, even when you think it isn't. Most losses in life do not come from failure. They come from waiting too long, waiting to speak, waiting to act, waiting to protect your position. While you wait, someone else moves. Someone takes the opportunity. Someone frames the narrative. Someone defines the rules before you even realize the game has started. Machiavelli observed this relentlessly. Those who act decisively shape reality. Those who hesitate are shaped by it. This does not mean reckless aggression. It means preemptive clarity. If you sense disrespect, address it early. If you sense betrayal, reposition immediately. If you see an opening, take it before it closes. Once others define the tempo, you are reacting, not leading. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for consensus. Move first, or be moved. Rule 6. Guard your reputation like a weapon. Your reputation enters the room before you do. People decide your value before you speak, before you act, before you explain. And here is the dangerous truth. Most people do not verify. They assume. A single rumor weakens you. A single emotional outburst stains you. A single public mistake becomes a permanent lens. Machiavelli warned that once contempt takes root, power collapses. This is why the disciplined avoid unnecessary drama, why they choose silence over public conflict, why they never fight battles that make them look small. You do not correct every lie. You outgrow it. You do not explain every accusation. You maintain composure until doubt shifts back onto the accuser. Reputation is armor, and once cracked, everything underneath is exposed. Never trade long-term perception for short-term emotional release. Rule 7. Keep your plans invisible. The fastest way to sabotage a future move is to announce it. The moment people know where you're going, they begin preparing obstacles. Some out of envy, some out of fear, some simply because humans enjoy interference. Machiavelli was clear. What is visible can be attacked. What is hidden cannot be stopped. Notice how the most effective people operate. They speak vaguely. They move quietly. They reveal outcomes, not intentions. By the time the world understands what they've done, the position is already secured. Silence is not emptiness. It is camouflage. Let others talk about dreams. You build structures. Let others announce. You arrive finished. Say less. Plan deeper. Reveal only when resistance no longer matters. Up to now, everything you've learned has been defensive. Protection, awareness, containment. That keeps you from being destroyed. But power does not stop at survival. Power organizes the environment around you. If this makes you uncomfortable, this channel isn't for you. But if you understand what's happening here, subscribe. This isn't motivation, it's preparation. This is where most people fail, because they confuse kindness with influence and presence with value. Let's correct that. Dependency. The quiet leash. Being liked is fragile. Being needed is permanent. People betray those they enjoy. They hesitate against those they depend on. Power consolidates when others require something only you provide. Access, skill, stability, decision-making. When removing you creates chaos. Loyalty becomes irrelevant. They comply because they must. Machiavelli understood this. A ruler protected by necessity does not beg for allegiance. If you can be easily replaced, you are already weak. This is where power stops asking. Reputation, the invisible force field. You do not fight every threat personally. Your reputation does the work for you. When your name signals consequence, people self-correct. They soften their tone. They reconsider their move. This is dominance without effort. You build it through consistency, restraint, and visible results, not noise, not explanations. Once people expect strength from you, they behave accordingly. This is how leaders control rooms without raising their voice. This is where power starts speaking for you. Strategic absence. Scarcity creates value. Constant presence erodes respect. When you're always available, your time feels cheap. Power grows in absence. When you step back intentionally, people feel the loss. Curiosity replaces certainty. Attention sharpens. Absence is not retreat. It is pressure through withdrawal. Machiavelli observed that men value what they fear losing. Disappear briefly. Return selectively. Let your presence regain weight. This is where people feel you without seeing you. Fear. Order without chaos. Love makes people comfortable. Comfort breeds entitlement. Fear, measured, controlled fear, creates order. Not terror, not cruelty. Consequences. The knowledge that crossing you costs something. The powerful do not threaten. They demonstrate once, then let memory do the rest. This is why boundaries, when enforced early, are rarely tested again. Machiavelli said it plainly. It is safer to be feared than loved if one cannot be both. Calculation over emotion. Emotion is expensive. It clouds judgment. It reveals weakness. It gives others leverage. Dominance requires calculation. You don't ask, how do I feel? You ask, what does this produce? Results over reactions. Position over validation. Outcome over ego. This is the shift. You stop living inside moments and start controlling trajectories, where the weak fall away. Real power is not announced. It is assembled in silence. The loud reveal themselves early. They explain. They posture. They demand attention before they've earned consequence. And by doing so, they expose every angle of attack. The world does not destroy loud people by accident. It waits for them to finish talking. The powerful move differently. They build while others speak. They prepare while others perform. They let the room underestimate them because underestimation is cover. This is shadow power. Noise is leakage. Every word you speak is information. Your fears, your goals, your timelines, your expectations. Most people bleed strategy through their mouth. They call it honesty. It's exposure. Machiavelli understood this. Those who reveal intent invite interference. Silence protects direction. Predictability is a target. The moment people can anticipate you, they can time you. They know when you'll react, when you'll forgive, when you'll hesitate. And once your patterns are mapped, you are no longer a person. You are a system to be exploited. Power lives in unreadability. Change your rhythm. Delay your responses. Disrupt expectations. Uncertainty forces respect. Mystery creates authority. People don't submit to what they fully understand. They submit to what feels larger than them. Mystery expands presence. When you speak less, others project more. They fill your silence with assumptions, and most of the time, they assume strength. This is why the calm figure in the room commands attention without asking for it. Authority is not volume, it is gravity, the internal shift. At this stage, something changes. You stop needing to be seen. You stop needing to be validated. You stop needing to be understood. You begin moving with intention instead of explanation. Others feel it. They don't know why conversations shorten around you, why people hesitate before pushing you, why your presence carries more weight. And the most unsettling part, you start to enjoy not being understood. But you know, you've stepped out of the noise and into the shadow where power grows. And once you experience this shift, you never return to who you were. Because now you understand the difference between being visible and being in control. Attention is loud. Influence is quiet. Attention burns fast and disappears. Influence lingers, reshapes, and outlives you. Most people spend their lives chasing visibility. Likes, praise, recognition, noise. And when the noise stops, nothing remains. Power was never about being seen. It was about being felt long after you leave the room. Machiavelli understood this difference. He saw that rulers who demanded applause were forgotten, but those who structured loyalty, fear, dependence, and reputation endured. Noise fades. Impact compounds. The loud are remembered briefly. The strategic are remembered structurally. Ask yourself this, and don't answer quickly. If you disappeared tomorrow, would anyone's behavior actually change? What decisions would still be influenced? What systems would still carry your fingerprint? What people would still adjust their behavior in your absence? If the answer is nothing, then you weren't powerless. You were unanchored. True control is not constant presence. It's designing outcomes that continue without you. It's building leverage that doesn't require explanation, reputation that doesn't require defense, influence that doesn't need reminders. This is the final shift. You stop playing for moments and start building for memory. You stop chasing relevance and start shaping consequence. Because the highest form of power is this: to be absent and still be obeyed. That is legacy, and legacy is control. Understand this before you move forward. The moment you change, you will be tested, not openly, not honestly, but subtly. People who are comfortable with your explanations will grow uneasy with your silence. People who benefited from your accessibility will feel threatened by your distance. People who relied on your guilt will try to trigger it again, just to see if it still works. They will poke, they will joke, they will check in. They will create small tensions to bait a reaction. Not because you did something wrong, but because your unpredictability disrupts their control. Silence makes insecure people nervous. Boundaries make manipulators restless. Calm makes provokers desperate. So they'll test you, quietly, repeatedly, patiently. They'll question your tone, label your restraint as arrogance, call your clarity cold. Frame your standards as selfishness. This is the moment most people fold, explaining, softening, apologizing, returning to old patterns to restore comfort. Don't. Discomfort is not danger. Resistance is not rejection. And pressure is not proof that you should retreat. It's proof that the dynamic has shifted. When people test your boundaries, it means they felt them. When they provoke your silence, it means it has weight. When they push for access, it means it's no longer guaranteed. Hold the line. No speeches, no justifications, no emotional corrections. Consistency is the final test. Because once the world learns that your silence doesn't break, your boundaries don't bend, and your behavior doesn't revert, the testing stops, and what replaces it is respect. This is where the shift locks in. You are no longer transparent. You're unreadable. You no longer react on cue. You remain calm. You don't move emotionally. You move strategically. And because of that, you're untouchable. Not louder, not crueler, not reckless, clear. Your silence is no longer hesitation. It is calculation. Your restraint is no longer weakness. It is control. Your presence no longer seeks permission. It sets terms. From this moment forward, you do not explain your standards. You enforce them. You do not chase approval. You let others adjust. You do not reveal your inner world. You protect it. Lock this in. Drop this in the comments. I don't chase power. I become it. Say it until it feels neutral, until it no longer feels like a declaration, but a description. Because this isn't motivation, it's installation. You don't need to announce the change. They'll feel it. In how you pause, in how you look, in how you no longer rush to reassure. And once the world realizes you can't be read, rushed, or ruled, the game changes. Stay silent, stay precise, stay dangerous, and remember, the most powerful man in the room is the one who no longer needs to be seen to be felt. If this changed how you see the world, don't explain it. Subscribe and share it with someone who still thinks being nice is protection. And if this unsettled you, good. That means it worked.